Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. Conversations that cool. Kitchen talk. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. Conversations that cool. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk. What you wanna talk about?
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey.
I hate to be like this, but I just love that intro song. It is Kitchen Talk CTC, Conversations That Cook. Oh my goodness, I'm super excited because I love this time of the week when I get to come on here and chat it up with some folks that I like and hang out and talk about stuff. Talk about some stuff. So, Auntie V is back. Do
Hey,
people see you in the
hey.
street and call you Auntie V?
Huh?
I say, do people see you now and call you Auntie V?
Yes. Anything they see on the web, they pick it up.
They pick it up. They definitely pick it up. Auntie V is in the house to talk to us. It's almost like you need to come every week till these taxes is over.
But they're changing that fast right now.
Wow.
It's probably changed about 6 times from January 1st, and this is what, the 18th? So it is making some fast changes, and I do not think it's over yet.
Wow. So with that, because we're gonna get into our tax talk with Auntie V. Um, here is my question, and I'm a conspiracy theorist a little bit. So I believe that it's one or two people that really run the world, and it ain't
No,
me.
not you, but okay.
But I guess my question is, are these changes trying to help us, or are they trying to trip us up and get caught up in something? Like, are they looking for something to, you know?
So you got two sides of that theory. Since you're a conspiracy theorist, let's run into your game for a minute. Let's see how this goes. It's really two sides, in my opinion, to that. Depending on whether or not the laws get passed to benefit you or do the law get passed to hurt you. And that's going to depend on which law gets passed.
Mm,
So it's a yes and a no to that. But let's talk about what's on the table right now, whether that's going to hurt or help. The biggest thing you have is your child tax credit law. That's one of the biggest things that's hitting the news and all of those things right now. But when it comes to the laws that they have on the table, those laws are, a lot of them is coming straight through Congress. So it's nothing we really can do about that. You really got to accept, reject, or deny. That's what you got. But on the flip side of that, it depends on whether it's a Democratic law or Republican law. So some of the laws are, one of them is child tax credit, and how much child tax credit will or will not be increased. The Republicans want to bring back some of the former president laws, Trump laws, and that would help the upper class, the higher income bracket people. The Democratic laws are trying to help the middle class people.
mm,
So their help is coming in either the child tax credit to people with the kids, the single people that either is going to get a higher standard deduction, which helps you out on your adjusted gross income, brings that down, which means if you owe money, it reduces that drastically. If you don't owe money, it increases that refund. That's a part of your Democratic laws. Some of your other Democratic laws is between your child tax credit, the standard deduction. It also is a part of your earned income credit. whether that increases some more, and they're talking about increasing that some more. So the people with children is looking at getting even more refund money because they're trying to increase that. So those are your middle class, the base of your middle class laws. Your Republican, those are Democratic laws. Your Republican laws are trying to help the higher income brackets. So that does not apply to most of us.
Mm-hmm.
So which is why I answered your question yes and no, because
Mm-hmm.
there's both sides. Now, the other thing to that is that with this child tax credit and all these laws, it's a big deal. Neither side is willing to really give, so you may not get any of it, or you
Mm.
may get a small portion of it, because if the Republicans don't get the part they want, the Democrats are not going to get the part they want. So we're kind of stuck in between the rat race of the game of what is really going to happen and who's really going to be willing to give in for the country and not just for self.
Mm.
So we kind of stuck in the middle of those things. And until that happens, we don't really know what the outcome is going to be, or the bottom line is going to be based on both sides want something. And it's
Mm-hmm.
all in the same deal. And now they got to decide on what part, because the Democrats want them to increase the child tax credit even higher to help the people. And the Republicans said we're already giving them too much.
Mm.
So we got a 50-50 split on how that's really going to turn out. And that's why the date has been pushed back to January 29th, because honestly, a lot of the forms that's on the tax return is not even available yet.
Mm.
On my system, it says a big mark across it. These list of forms is not even available yet.
Wow.
So the harm is the people that choose to file early is hurting themselves right now, because we don't know what the final law is going to be. And this is a perfect example of that. If you file early and have dependent children and they increase the child tax credit law, when that law is passed, you are not allowed to go back and try to claim that additional money. You lose it.
Oh, wow.
So it doesn't do you any good to rush. It's not doing those people any good who use their last check stub, which, first of all, is against the law. It's not doing those people any good, because if they have children again, they're going to try to do an amended return to get that money. And the IRS have already informed us, if another return comes in and nothing income wise changed, we're denying the amended. They will not get the money. So this is not a year to be in a hurry. You got to wait it out and see what happens. Now, here's the flip side of that. Even if they say tomorrow the law is passed, right? We first got to wait and see what effective date is going on that law. If it passed tomorrow, it's
Mm.
not effective tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
They now got to give it an effective date. So you still shouldn't file until after the effective date. So you really can get the benefit of whatever that law is. And that's on both sides, Republican and Democrat. Whatever law that is, whatever they're trying to pass, they still got to give it an effective date. So we got to wait on that.
So even though we like in what's considered tax season now,
Mm-hmm.
we're still waiting on laws to be passed or not passed,
Yes,
forms to be changed or not
yes,
changed. Wow.
yes. When it started January 2nd, it was about 25 forms that the software said is not yet available. It's now down to about 10, but it's still some out there.
So with this, are they going to um move the April 15th date?
No, no. It's given January 29th is the day they're going to start officially accepting. They have already started, but officially accepting. And April 15th is your final day. That's it.
Wow.
That's it. Yeah. So no, doesn't change the end results. And right now, businesses can file, all your corporations, all your LLCs and your S corps and your C, they can file. it doesn't affect them
Mm,
because the defendants can't go on that return anyway. So they can
mm.
get out of the way. They've been able to file ever since the 11th. So they're available to file.
Oh, okay.
But the people with the children, it's on you to wait. If you choose to, you choose to. A lot of people's going to do it with the last check stub. That's the biggest mistake to make, in my opinion, because if you got a bonus or anything at the end of the year, or if your company is on a fiscal year and not a calendar year, you don't know what that company does.
Mm,
So your last check stub may not match that W 2 for any of those company reasons, depending on how they have the company set up. They could be calendar year, fiscal year. You could have bonuses. You can have anything at the end of the year. You could have taken a withdrawal out of a 401k or IRA, anything at the end of the year. If that is done, and it may roll to the next year, you don't know.
mm-hmm.
But if it rolled to this year and you use that last check stub, you kind of shoot yourself in the foot. So it's hard to say you don't know. Does that answer your question though?
It did. It did. And it's just, you know, you would think that something like this that's really important would be solidified by the time you get ready to do your taxes.
We hope.
But it's
Um,
not.
and no year is it ever ready by the time you do your taxes.
Wow.
This is the year that has is drug out the longest, but no year. This is the slowest year that I have seen in 20 some years with the IRS on what they are doing and how they are doing it. This is the slowest I've ever seen. Now, keep in mind, not only are they slow, and this is one of the reasons why I'm saying that they are really behind the gun. Every system we have, every governmental agency we have, logins for usernames updated and increased their system, and none of it worked for us this year. We had to do new applications. We had everything to do. If you had Social Security Administration to verify, it's a new e-verify system. If an employee gets hired for a company, now we have to put that in a whole database to verify that person. All of that is absolutely different than it was not in the prior years. If you do payroll and you have to submit the quarterly reports, that system changed. We had to do a new application with that system. We had to do one with the Social Security system. We had to do a new one with E-Verify system. We had to do another one with the BSO system. Everybody changed, and they combined Social Security, IRS, and unemployment under one username and password through the ID Me account, which is why it's so important for people to have that. That is your lifeline. You no longer create three accounts. You create one username and password through ID Me, and it operates all three governmental agencies. So they're
Wow.
tying it together to prevent identity theft or to
Mm,
cut back on it as much as they can.
mm-hmm.
That's why your ID and your selfie is a part of that program. If somebody try to file something under your name and they should not, they ask for that ID. When that ID does not match what's on file, now they have a person to go after.
Mm.
They didn't have that before. So it is, they are trying to be transparent, and that's the best part of it. And people who don't want to do the ID Me, I really, really, really strongly suggest you do. It is in your best benefit.
Mm-hmm.
It is. It's going to help you in the end. It's going to save you from all of the problems that everybody else have when they taking your identity and they filing for all this stuff and they filing these bad tax returns under your name. It's going to save you from all of that.
I
Yeah,
I did mine, I think. I gotta go and look. I
yeah,
think I did though.
yeah.
I just
It
gotta
wasn't
remember
that
where I
hard to
wrote it
do.
down.
Yeah, it wasn't that difficult to do. So
Yeah.
it is something it's truly needed because it's going to save you in a lot of ways, and it's protecting you and it's protecting people on that return. So you do want to kind of do that to make sure you're kind of covered.
Mm-hmm. Whew. It
So
just
let's
it
go straight
seems so complicated. That's why I'm so glad that I
to
have you.
it.
Cause
This year is complicated. This year is very, 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 very. I have spent weeks trying to get into new systems and make sure they work. And to since we do bookkeeping, payroll, taxes, consulting, everything, All of those systems I had to redo. So that's the hard part was really making sure. And then guess what? A lot of those systems had to be done by August of last year.
Oh wow.
So it didn't just start. Now it's not that they truly notified you, but you
Mm-hmm.
had to learn about it. But still, you end up having to do it. So it just kind of it's just gonna make everything slower this year to me. It's just gonna push everything down. But I think when the gate opens, it's just gonna go so fast. Everybody just have to be prepared. Have all your documents. It's gonna be a
Mm-hmm.
big audit year for companies. Have all your documents. These S corps, LLCs, and even Schedule Cs is going to get audited like you drink water. Please have good documentation on what you are putting on a return
Mm-hmm.
and have proof that you put it there by those receipts, a spreadsheet, a bank statement, a carrier pigeon, a receipt, something.
Mm-hmm.
Because when they ask you for it, you may even start getting to see revenue agents again that come out and sit before you. So that's the case. You do want to be prepared.
Wow.
But they are hiring a vast number of revenue agents.
So what do you so people who use like TurboTax and stuff like that, is that really good to use, or should you actually go to a tax preparer?
I can't say it's not good to use because everybody don't need a professional because their life is not that complex.
Okay.
But if you feel like your life have more complex issues this year than ever before, I would suggest a professional. Now, let's say for example, mom, two kids, and one W-2. You may not need a professional. TurboTax can pretty much do what you have. But if you getting into the itemizing, if you getting into the 1099 income, if you getting into anything outside of that one W-2 and your two wonderful little children, you may want to seek somebody that at least do a consultation and get the advice. At least search the IRS website because it's very transparent now. A lot of things are actually out there with explanations. So you do want to kind of look at it. If you have a second thought about anything you're putting on one, don't do it without getting the question answered.
Mm.
Most people need the professional. Last year, this year, and the year before, and going forward, they need it because every time I come on here for the last few years, I have talked about the tax laws that's going to run us all the way to 2025. We're seeing the results of those this year, and we're going to see a large vast of that next year,
Mm.
which is our 2025 year. We were hoping that because taxes is on a calendar, one is a calendar year, one is a tax year. We was hoping this was the year. We'll see a lot of it this year, and that's why all these changes are jumping around because
Mm.
it is a part of our 2025. And I know I've been saying this for 3 years. 2025 was going to be our worst. We're in the midst of that right now.
Mm.
So yeah, most people do need a professional. But again, if you mom and two kids on a W-2, you may not need a professional. TurboTax may do
Or
it
if
for you.
it's just you and no
If
other
it's you
kind
and
of
no
job, no
dependents, you may
nothing,
not need that. But if
you
you
just
go
work one
outside of
regular
that,
job.
if you go outside of that, you may want to seek somebody. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
Wow.
As we're talking about your children, these wonderful little people, child tax credit laws is the biggest thing on the market right now, and that's the biggest thing in the news. They talked yesterday. The last notification I got said 23 hours ago they passed it. I don't know whether it's final yet, but that's the last news 23 hours ago. Do expect another update on that before the 29th.
Mm.
I don't think it's at the stage. I pretty much can tell you what they say that law is today, but don't expect that to be the same law tomorrow. And that's the problem with taxes. You can do a tax return today under one rule, and in 24 hours that rule can change. So this person have one set, that person has another set, and it's two different outcomes for the same situation because that's how fast these laws are changing because they're trying to get something in place so people can file, but at the same time they're not through with them, so it may change again. But your child tax law, a part of what they have right now, is a two-part law. It's a It's a, tax credit and it's a refundable credit. So in most people's mind, refundable says I got to give something back. That's what refund is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the IRS definition of a refundable credit is absolutely different from what we think. So I'm gonna read and tell you what they say it is. A refundable tax credit is a credit that you can get as a refund, even if you don't owe taxes. Tax credits and amounts are subtracted from the bottom line, which is your adjusted gross income when you file. And most tax credits can reduce the taxable liability to zero, which means that you can get a larger refund and you can get that credit as a part of the total refund. So it won't be giving anything back, even though it's called refundable.
Mm.
You won't give anything back to it. So refundable credit goes beyond that and it gives you the remaining credit as a part of your refund. So that way you get more refund because that refundable credit now becomes a part of that refund and you can get that.
Oh.
And that's why it's best to file, even if you don't have to file, if there are refundable credits and stuff out there, you can file a tax return just to obtain the refundable credit. Even if you don't have income, and that's when they did all the stimulus stuff and the non-filers was allowed to do it. That's
Mm.
a part of what that means. Even you didn't have a job, but you have those two kids. File this, get the refundable portion for those two kids, and you can get that. So that's what the
Oh, okay.
refundable portion is. And that's why, even though it's called refundable, it's not taking anything away from you. It's actually giving you something. And they call it refundable because they're giving you a part of that as a refund.
So now, Auntie V, if someone uses that, right, and they get a refund, and then tomorrow or the next day the law change, are they gonna
They,
go back and penalize them, or that's just a
no,
wash?
it's just a wash.
Okay.
Because the day they filed, it was the law.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they're never going to go back and penalize you for something that was a law today and it's the law changed tomorrow.
Okay.
The law only typically only gets better and doesn't get worse.
Mm.
So a day later, you might have got more money that you can't go back and get because you've already
But
got it
you
under the
also
law.
can't go back
You can't, they
and
can't go
get
back and
the
take anything
money
from
under
you
the new
either.
law.
No,
Yeah.
no, yeah. So that's the difference on that. So as it stands right now, that law is $2,000, um, which is a maximum. Now let's talk about that credit because this is another misconception to me. People think you automatically will get the 2,000. You do not. There are rules and regulations that make you eligible for the 2,000. Income, you have to have a certain amount of income in order to qualify for the credit. It is not given to you just because you birth two kids.
Mm.
If you don't have the right income or the credit that you receive is going to be based on the income you have.
Mm.
So you got that. If it's a married filing joint person, there's a threshold and an amount for that. If it's a head of household person, there's an income and threshold for that. So every filing status has its own amount and threshold amount. And that's what it's really based on. So you don't just automatically get the 2,000 for these six kids just because I got them. If my income is $1,200, I don't qualify for all 2,000 per child because I don't have enough income. I didn't put enough cookies in the jar, in other words, in order to want all of these cookies out.
Mm.
I got to qualify to get these cookies out the jar. So I got to have enough income to do it. So your 2,000 is only going to be given to you upon qualifying, not upon just because I did something. I got to qualify to get what I got. So that's a big part of it. It was 1,600. They're moving it up to 2,000, and the Democrats are trying to even move that higher.
Mm.
So your refundable portion is your 1,600 right now. You're at
Oh.
1,600, and now they want to move the 16 to 1,800 as a mandatory base for the refundable portion. And then the other part is the part you'll have to qualify for. So that's why I say this law is not yet finished, but this the stages is in right now. Any questions? I know that's a lot.
It is. I mean, just thinking about it, I'm like, Greg, hey.
Yeah. It all goes up and down, and it all goes back and forth depending on who's trying to give you what,
Mm-hmm.
or who's trying to take what away from you,
Mm-hmm.
or what benefits you. And that's why when people say, "Oh, you accounting, you like numbers," I say, "No. In this arena, accounting has nothing to do with a number. It has everything to do with a law.
Mm-hmm.
Taxes has nothing to do with a number. It has everything to do with a law. If that law does not apply to you, neither does that money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a single person with no kids can't get child tax credit. That's a law. But they have increased it for single people. The income bracket for them to receive earned income credit have also increased. So they're trying to help out a little bit at a time. They're walking up the steps, but for most single people who really have a real life, it still doesn't help them because their income is still much higher than
Right.
what that threshold is. So everything we do is an age, a threshold, it's a number. But the law generates all of that. Without that law, none of that is going to come into place.
And
And
we
most accounting is not
I be
about
trying to
just
figure out how to get all my money back, but
you
it ain't
won't.
gonna happen.
You won't ever. You won't ever. So don't stop trying to figure that out. It's not gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. You're never gonna get it all back. You
I'm
never
like, what y'all doing with it?
ain't getting it back to us. We know
Right.
that much. We know we ain't getting it back. So that's what they ain't doing with it. They ain't getting it back to us.
Right. Right. That part.
Yeah. So
Woo.
let's go next, Lisa. Let's see.
I
Let's
think your next thing was what is the BOI?
so we kind of hit this the last time, and that's the new Congress passed law that is geared towards corporations, and they first advertised as LLCs. So I did a little Russian roulette myself, and I emailed the company, the fencing company, and I asked questions based on other types of businesses and how does that affect them? Because when they advertised this first, they only said LLCs. Now, if you hear it, you're going to hear it more all types of companies, and it's not just an LLC that's affected
Mm.
by this. It is S corp, C corp, and even some Schedule C filers, sole proprietors. Some of them is now affected by this as well. So if you have a business, it is strongly recommended to follow the BOI rules and updates, which is a system called FinCEN that they actually is trying to, let's see, let's find a good answer for you. They trying to stop money laundering, um, transferring money to a million places, foreign, and as well as they're trying to determine who owns what companies,
Mm.
who owns what. Um, this is just my opinion of it all. When we had the PPP and all those things, and everybody did all this fraudulent activity, and everybody got all these millions of dollars and was not supposed to get it, and the real business owners could not get any of the money because the fraudulent people had already taken it all. This is going to eliminate that, in my opinion, because most won't see it coming. Yeah, it is. It is, Bruce. It is going to hit companies very hard. It's going to hit them hard because if they don't follow the rules, there is a fine. And I keep hearing it's up to $500 a day. I have not been able to confirm that with anybody. And I have reached out to FinCEN a few times. With my email, they sent me back some blanket stuff. But after I guess a lot of us emailed about the same thing, they did started updating the website to talk about other companies that it was going to affect. When we thought it was only going to affect one set of corporations, it's affecting all of them, including the Schedule Cs. Now, this is not a part of your tax return. Your tax preparer is not responsible for this. So in the state of Florida, like you do your SunBiz renewal, this is something you would have to do one time only, and you would have to register your own company. Now I did mine already. It took me about 6 minutes.
Mm.
Now, exposed to white males getting grants and loans because the company's in their wife's name, but they get it is. It is going to expose a lot of that. Not only is it going to keep them from doing that, it's going to keep all of the fraudulent people from getting the money when the real companies needed it. It's going to stop these big businesses from, like, they got the PPP and all of that. It's going to stop all of that. The small businesses is going to be able to. So when this come up and you want to apply for something, they're going to go to this fence in and see is your company even registered. That's going to be the
Mm.
first thing happen. Now, another part of that is that the banks, the financial institutions may have access to this now. So more than one person is going to know who owns this company. Is this company registered? Is this company performing? What is this company really doing? You're not going to be able to make up a 1099 anymore and just say I want to get a loan. They can now look and see is this company registered. So it is a streamlined process to me. I think it's a census style. That's just my opinion. So you got your conspiracy theories on some. That's mine on this one. I think it's a census to know who has what and what you're doing with it. I think it's going to validate and verify you and the company. I think it's going to do all of that. But just like the person just said, it is going to stop those people from getting the money when the business is in one person's name and they're applying for the loan and saying it's in their name and they making up the documents and send it in and nobody's verified. It's going to cut all that out.
Mm.
It is. Now, the information that they're going to want from you, it's a list of it. The company's legal name, if you're doing business as something, the current business address, the place of business, the jurisdiction that the company was formed or registered in, the taxpayer ID number, the benefit owner's legal name, the company owner, the birthday of that person, the residential address to that person, a photo ID or passport to that person. So we're tying people back into this now. But
Wow.
we're going to come out the riffraff again. Um, the existing business, the percentage that that person owns now has to be accounted for. So this is what we was originally taught in class, that you had to do this long process and you had all this stuff to do and it was going to ask you these millions of questions. Well, when I did mine, when it got to the point of who the company was, because I was already in operation prior to January 2024, it allowed me to click a button and skip all of that.
Mm.
Then when I got to the bottom, because when you put the company EIN in, they pulled it, they knew who the heck I was.
Mm-hmm.
So they gave me the choice to tick that button and not type all that in, and they pulled it. Now, when it got to the portion of me, the owner, I had to put all of that in on me. Social, you upload that picture. The hardest part was uploading the ID, literally on the whole thing. The hardest part was for me to scan and load this ID. But the rest of it was right there. It was not a hard process. It is something you can do yourself.
Mm.
If you take your time to do it, make sure your information is correct, validate your information, and put it in the system. Now, when you go to the FinCEN website, it is giving you the choice to see whether or not your company have to do this or not. You can do that step first. And then it's going to tell you, yes, you need to. No, you don't need to.
Oh, okay.
On the website, it also tells you What companies are exempt? What type of companies are exempt from doing it? Do you fall into one of those categories? So all of your information is supposed to be on this FinCEN website. They are updated daily. They have updated it a lot since I first looked at it back on January 1st. It
Mm-hmm.
has advanced a lot since then. And like I said, I went out there and did mine last week, and it took me probably about 5 or 6 minutes because it did not make me put in a lot of stuff about the company. When I put that EIN, it's like it sucked it all up because I've been already filing and all of that. And I was able to click the button. I moved on to my personal information. By the time I put all of that in, and you get to the end, I mean, it was pretty quick at that point. But it is asking you for all of that information. Your ID is attached there. If somebody now want to go out and do something under your company name and all that, all this is now there. They can because your picture is now there.
Mm-hmm.
You're the owner of the company. You are it. If you have a partnership, each partner has to be listed. So don't just do it with you. It's one company, multiple owners. So put all the owners, the percentage each person owns, and just follow it all the way through with these partnerships. So if there's more than one person on your company, list all your people. So you don't have a problem down the line with that. But just list all your people.
Wow.
You was getting some good chats in there. Anybody else out there with a question on this?
No, not so far.
Other than your filing times, if you were already an existing company prior to January 2024, you do have it until January 2025. If you form a company after January 1st, 2024, you have 30 days from the original registration that you received to do your BOI. You only have 30 calendar days. From the date they tell you this company was formed, you have to do your BOI within 30 days.
Mm.
And that's for all new companies.
And what does the BOI acronym stand for again?
It's where is it? Benefit ownership. Oh, I got it everywhere here. Beneficial ownership. And where is the rest of it? Oh, I got a bunch of them. Hold on. I can tell you. They got a lot of them. And I keep telling them they're going to change their name too. Because they want to make them too beneficial ownership information reporting. That's what it actually is.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. That's what the FinCEN system is. So that's
Mm.
what you're reporting to, and that's the FinCEN, and they are Financial Crime Reporting Enforcement Network system. And crime is what they're trying to prevent.
Cut down
The
on.
money laundering and
Mm-hmm.
all your sending money places you don't post. That's where they at with that. So that's a lot of that.
Woo.
I know that's a lot.
It
But on
is.
the good news side, we have some good news. I reckon.
Okay, give me the good news. Yeah, let's get some good news.
So let's get some good news. So people, anybody that had filed their taxes late from 2021 and 2022, and they may go back to 20, but right now it's 21 and 22. Anybody that filed taxes late and incurred any interest and penalties, they are going to waive that automatically for you without you having to do anything. So let's say, for example, you have a tax debt. There was interest and penalties on it, and you paid the entire debt. You are going to receive a blanket check in the mail with an amount on it that's yours to spend. They're going to give it back to you.
What?
Isn't that hard to believe? But yes, they're going to, and that's your IRS penalty relief. They are going to give that money back to you. They are going to do it for 21 and 22 and possibly 20. We don't know if 20 is going to happen. All we do know is that you're just going to receive a check. You're going to be shocked and surprised you got a check from the IRS. You're not going to know what it's for, but that is what it's going to be about. Those people that have debt that they have not paid off yet, if you create the ID.me account, you will be able to see the debt. And when they remove the penalties and interest from that money, you will then have a new balance to pay that's probably going to be much smaller than it was. And I advise you to try to knock it out as quick as possible once they remove that stuff from it. But they are going to take and remove those penalties and interest from the debt that you have. It can be your failure to file penalty. It could be your late filing penalty. It could be the interest occurred from that. They are going to start removing those penalties,
Oh my goodness.
which is a good
I mean, I
thing.
don't have none of them, but that is definitely some good news.
Now, they announced the new penalty relief totaling about $1 billion is what they're expecting to return to people, which is about 4.7 million individuals and businesses. So it does not only affect the business, it is Miss Brown, Miss Green, Miss Purple who filed their taxes late and incurred that penalty and interest. They are going to also get their money back. You're welcome. Yeah.
Wow.
And the reason they're doing it is because they dropped the ball on giving you your collection reminder letter. If they did not send your collection reminder letter like they were supposed to, and they were supposed to, they are now going to reward you for their mistake.
Wow.
Yeah. And during the COVID, so that's why I say it could go all the way back 19 and 20 because that's when this initially started. We did not get, you didn't get those collection letters like you were supposed to. They were not generated like they were supposed to. That area was completely closed, so they couldn't. So we had one of those things where you didn't get your information, so you didn't know how to pay your bill, or you went online to try to pay it and they never took the money.
Mm.
So you had those things that really happened to you. So and they are going all the way up to February of 2022 to start. They're going from February 2022 and back to start giving you money.
And that's, you know, everybody.
Anybody that are affected.
Anybody that had penalties that paid them or didn't pay them or whatever.
Didn't matter. They're going
Wow.
back, and that's an automatic that you don't have to do anything for. They're going to automatically do that for you. You're just going to receive the money. So it's good for people who not going to be expecting that, but get your money back. It's coming back to you automatically anyway. I've seen
That's
them
excellent.
in a lot of ways recently. People that hadn't filed taxes in a multiple years, of course, there was a lot of penalties to that. They applied all that to the refund and sent them the check at one time. I just did it to a lady the other day, and it was like, I was like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of Christmas over, but you just was Merry Christmas. The vast amount of money she got because she hadn't filed since 2020.
Oh.
So I just had to do all of those, and I did that like in November. And the money just showed up in January. But when we went online, her ID to look at her stuff, it showed I gave you penalties and interest from 2020, 2021, and 2022. And they tied it all to her refund one time and gave her a big check. So it's out there. It's coming. Just wait on your check. If it affected you, it's money out there for you.
Wow. That'll be a nice little bonus for the year.
It would be. It would be
Mm.
a good bonus. Anybody in this room have any questions before we go any further?
Not so far.
Let's talk real quick about 1099s and this Cash App and all of this wonderful stuff. From my last visit, that has also changed. Last year they took it off the table completely. This year they told you they was bringing it back. Then by December they was taking it off the table. Well, it's back on the table. The change to it now is that before they were telling you anybody that made $600 and above, now it's 10,000 and above. There's no
This is
minimum.
with your, well, you said with your Cash
Like
App
the
and all of
Cash App,
those.
the Venmo, all of these, things that you taking money in. Now, there's a lot of sides to that right now, and it's beneficial to the people. So let's say this. If you are a business and you have a Cash App and a Venmo or whatever you collecting your payments for your company for, please, please, please go to Cash App and make sure that's in your company's name and your company's EIN number, not your name and not your social security number. However, the form gets to your tax preparer, that's how they have to file it. So if it comes in Valencia Cain with her social security number, I can't put it on the business because it doesn't tell me it's business money. It tells me it's personal money. And I got to file it with the federal tax return as a business part, but it's personal money. It's going to become income to you. Now,
Mm.
I know for a fact that people keep telling me that I can't change my Cash App stuff. That's absolutely not true, and I'm going to tell you how to do it. You cannot do it from your phone, and you cannot do it from the app. You must be on a computer.
Mm.
Go to the little sign where your name is, like your avatar. Click on that. It tell you to edit. You could change that company name and company EIN instantly within 30 minutes. It updates the system and give you a new form, and now your stuff is the way it should be. But if you take it to your repairer with your name and social on it, she cannot put that up under your corporation, your LLC, none of that, because it's not that company's money. Even though you tell her you made it for that company, you have it under your personal name. It's your money. The government is going to look for that identifying number, that name of that social security number, and that's how they want to find that on a tax return.
Mm.
So if you want it claimed as business, put it in the business name like it's supposed to be. Everybody, even though it's not a business Cash App, I do advise you to go out there and make sure that you don't have a form because they also gave us a workaround on that. I gave my grandchildren $100 a week and they want me to claim this money. They also gave us the choice to ask you, the taxpayer, how much of this is business money, how much of it is personal money, how much you gave to your kids, how much you gave to the dog groomer. We now get to split that off and not make you responsible for all of it because if none of it was business, then I get to split it all back off and not make you responsible for any of it. But again, if it's in your name, I have to do something about it. If it's in the business name, then we get to file it as business. Two different sides. So don't come in nowhere thinking you could put it in my personal name, put my business stuff in my personal name, and she gonna be able to wash it out. No, it's not. You don't get that choice.
Mm.
It's either gonna help or hurt you by you trying to be slick. So please don't try to be slick. If it's business, put it under business and let it go where it's at. If it's personal, and it's always been personal because now they're making us go out and verify how long that Cash App has been there, what name it's been under. So I'm only giving away too much, but you're not gonna be able to just cheat on that.
Mm-hmm. And so they gonna be looking at, so if you don't have a business but you just use Cash App personally, are they looking at that too?
I want you to go out and make sure you don't have a form because you should not get one
Okay.
because it's not under a business. But on the flip side of that, if you have a business and you need that income, if it's on that personal side and you don't get a form, nothing I can do about that.
It won't count as your income.
No.
What about, I know with the Cash App, Venmo, and Zelle, what about PayPal?
PayPal, Square, Block, all of those,
All of it. Okay.
all of them. Any of those electronic wallets, any of them. Yeah.
Ooh, they just want to
Everybody
know
needs to
about
check
all
and
your
make sure
coins.
yeah, everybody need to make sure whether they have those on those accounts or not. So just look out there and make sure whether you have it or not, because you don't want the IRS to write you later and say you didn't claim this income.
Mm.
That's going to be the biggest problem in the world for you, especially this year. So don't let that happen to you. Yeah, look for all
Ooh,
of those things. You're going to need them.
that is something.
Yeah, that's kind of big. So another thing is that this may not affect a lot of middle class. And then again, it may. And this is why I say then again, it may. A lot of the people who did the fraudulent PPPs also did the fraudulent ERCs, Employee Retention Credit.
Oh.
So let's try to tell you real quick what that really was. That was another form for businesses to be able to obtain money, governmental money, to stay operational, is what it really was supposed to do. So the problem became the companies out there reached out to you, the individual, and said, hey, you got a business, I can do this for you. And they did, fraudulently did it
Mm.
for you. Now, you may not have known that it was fraudulent because when they approach you with the best paint on this picture and it looked good to you. And yes, I'm good for it. Now, the government is going after the companies who did it because they bamboozled a lot of people.
Mm.
Okay. On the other hand, people knew what they were doing because it was free money and they were doing it. So you might have been put in a claim and you was expecting $1 million back from the government, and they were sending this money out like water until so many millions kept going. They was like, wait a minute now, we done sent out 18 million in 3 hours. Is that possible? So then they said, we're gonna freeze it all, and we're not gonna give anybody any money, but we're gonna hold on to this million applications we got for this money, and we're gonna now investigate should these people have gotten this money. About 80% of it was no, they should not have gotten it.
Oh, wow.
Well, only about 30% was done by the normal people, you and me. The rest of it was done by companies who reached out to people to do it for them. So the fraud came from fraudulent companies who told you I can get you this money and they did it on your behalf. Sometimes they made up documents, they did whatever they took for them to get this money. Now you might not know the documents were made up because but you're now responsible to pay back this money. So the IRS is saying, because we know the fraud was done with the companies the majority of the time, we're going to give you, the taxpayer, an opportunity to withdraw your application without penalty or very little penalty. Because you do have it in, we got the document on you, so it's already fraud and we already know that. Or the people that have received the money, we're going to give you the opportunity to pay it back in small increments without a lot of penalty.
Mm.
Because again, we know the companies reached out to you guys and did it on your behalf, and you didn't do it yourself. So we're going to say, we're going to let you be considered the dumb one at this moment, and we're going to let you out of this. But we're going to let you out of it with a small penalty and pay it back. We're going to give you the opportunity to pay it back. But who they're going after now is the big businesses who did it for you.
Mm.
Those are the people who's getting ready to pay the piper because they did it. The government know they did it. They have caught them who did it, and they know who they are. And a lot of those companies will be shut down. They don't have a choice. They're going to close them, and they're going to fine them, and then they're going to give you the opportunity to get out of it because you were kind of bamboozled into it. And
Wow.
some of us knew what we were doing, but everybody didn't. But they learn that, and then you have people calling in and say, "I was expecting my million by such and such day." Well, ma'am, did you have employees? Well, here's the catch-22: the business owner could not be considered an employee, but a lot of them did it. And more free money because the government come up with these things and don't have enough rules and regulations in place at one time. So this is the results we get. That's why
Mm-hmm.
it went rampant because they didn't have results in place. They didn't have enough rules in place when they
Mm-hmm.
were giving out. They came up with it too fast and not enough rules. And when it spiraled out of control. Then they came up with rules. Then they stopped it, and then they ran out of money. Then they came back, and it just keep
All
going.
in the crisis of COVID.
Yeah, yeah.
So
We
we,
got a lot of fraudsters now.
yeah, yeah.
Florida is the third. Well, Jacksonville probably is the third highest fraudulent city to Miami.
Wow.
We got a lot. We 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 cheat anybody. We just got a lot. I was like, wait a minute, yeah. So when we do classes, they tell you this company's going out, this company's going out. A lot of times they give you a dossier on them, tell you this what y'all don't do. They just point it all out. So you know not to follow those rules because you're going to jail with high nose.
Right, right.
You don't do those. But yeah, so we have a lot of fraud. We Florida, we are always trying to get over on somebody. I don't know why we do that. Our state is cheap. We steal. Our state steals. We don't know,
Well, I
but we do a
mean,
lot of it.
look at
Yeah.
our leadership.
And that's why we got stealing state. Yeah, we got stealing state, and the people do it a lot. So we got it really bad.
Wow.
So
Wow.
anybody that needs this CRC help, reach out. We can put you in the point you in the right direction. Let's say that. I refuse to do any ERC for anybody. I did none of it. I took on no clients that wanted it done because I knew it was not enough rules and regulations in place. And I
Mm,
knew at the end somebody's head was going to roll and I need my head. So I didn't want to bother with that. So
I
I
hear
did
you.
none of that. Yeah. Just like I didn't do any PPP for anybody either. I didn't touch any of that simply because I knew the inside of what was happening really. So I just didn't bother. And you couldn't talk people out of it. So just let people do what they was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Student loan forgiveness. Anybody who have had their student loan forgiven will not be responsible to put it on a tax return. You will not have to account for it anywhere at all. You will not get a tax form on it. You will not have to account for it on the tax return. You will not have to claim it as income. You will not have to do anything with it at all. That's good news.
That is great news.
Nothing. Do nothing with it. They can't send you a form because Congress put a set of rules in place that allowed the forgiveness to happen. And if you were fortunate enough to be in that category, you were just blessed with it.
Wow.
Yeah. Anything 10 years or older, a lot of that was it. The nurses and all the medical professionals, that was it. So they had a set of rules, and only those rules were allowed to be forgiven. Now, are they trying to expand that? Yeah, Joe Biden is trying to expand that rule to more people, but that saved a lot of people's lives. That was a lot of money forgiven. You're talking about billions and billions were forgiven. So
Wow.
they just got it off the books. So nobody won't have to be responsible for that at all.
It's done for real. Like
It's
it's
done for real. That part, if you were already forgiven, you're done and over with. Now,
wow.
those of us who are not forgiven, we still got our fingers crossed. I got my fingers, both of them crossed. But they didn't forgive none of mine. So, I wasn't that fortunate yet. But I'm waiting on mine. It's coming.
Woo.
Any questions out there? Bruce, where you went? You had some good questions the other day.
I know he did have some good comments and questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Okay,
think
Auntie
that's
B, you got like 2 minutes.
I think that's the biggest of what y'all got going on. My 2 minute spiel is just please be prepared this year.
Yeah.
Be as honest as you can and be as prepared as you can. And don't file early at all. Wait on these laws because some of these laws may affect your retirement investments. They got so many in there. The only thing they're talking about is one, but there's more out there than that. So kind of wait it out a little bit and let's see what the law is going to do for us.
Mm. Well, I'm hoping not to have to pay.
Me too. Me too. I owe them enough,
Wait,
Lisa.
Auntie V, how many children can one person claim? Like, if
As
somebody
many as they
got
got
more than
income
they can
for,
claim, can I have one of theirs?
no, you don't want to do that either because that's an audit. You don't want to do that. That's gonna cause you to get audited. But that's a good question, and you can claim as many kids as you got the income for. A lot of people tell you can only claim two. That's not true. If you
Mm,
got five and you making 70,000, claim all five of them children. Don't sell them off. You need all of that because that earned income credit, child tax. Well, at least that child tax credit per child is yours anyway. So you
mm-hmm.
gonna get that anyway. So yeah, keep your children on your tax return. Stop selling them off. You don't need to do that. Mm-mm. I don't have none. I need to borrow one of y'all's, but I'm gonna let y'all have them children. No, because they auditing children like water. So don't, because they tied into school records, doctors,
Yeah,
um, everything. So welfare, food stuff. They know where your kids at. So don't
yeah,
sell them off.
yeah, yeah,
And that affects people HUD nowadays too. So if you don't think that's true, when you go to recertify your HUD and you show that tax return, that child not on there, you can't lose your HUD indefinitely. So please stay away from giving them children away.
oh,
A lot of no rules with that.
wow,
I've seen them get kicked off of HUD about this fake business tax returns and all of this stuff too. So be careful with a lot of that.
yeah. I mean, you can only scam for so long. It's gonna catch up with you
Yeah.
at some point.
But when you're invincible, it just keeps going. I've been getting away with it for 6 years and nothing gonna happen.
And it happens at the time that you really don't need it to happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And that's where the devastating effect comes in at, because you finally got caught at the wrong time.
At the wrong time.
Yeah.
Listen, this has been Kitchen Talk. We've been talking taxes with Auntie V. I'm telling you, oh my goodness. It's a lot, but it's good to know. And I'm glad we were able to have these talks. And I honestly think, Auntie V, you need to come back probably next month too, because we need some
Yeah.
updates.
Yeah. So soon as they update some much of this stuff, I'll reach out to you again and tell you what, because I think everything we discussed today is going to be an update.
Okay.
All of it. I don't think any of it is final yet. So I do think there's going to be an update. Those who need to do your BOI, please go ahead and do it. Those who
Hmm.
don't have a ID.me account, please go ahead and do it. With a computer and a cell phone at the same time, just do it. Yeah.
I tell you, yeah, we're gonna definitely have to keep this talk. Again, Auntie V said that if you don't have to file early, try to wait it out. Um, and then if you have children,
Wait it out
wait it out.
because it's affecting y'all money. And you
Wait
will
it
not be able
out.
to go back and get it if you miss the window of that opportunity. You will not be able to go back and get that money.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
we're learning that today's laws may not be tomorrow's laws.
True.
So if you can wait till the dust settle, try to wait till the dust settle, and then we move forward with the
At
best
least
possible
after January
scenario.
29th, let's wait to then. And then let's see. Because the 28th, I might hit you up and do about 15 minutes to see is the
Okay,
law set right then, and then we'll know what to do the next day. How about that?
it
That'll give
sounds
us a
good.
better understanding of tomorrow. Is our data do everything? Are we really ready for tomorrow?
Are we really ready for tomorrow?
Yeah,
Wow. So it sounds like February 1st, Auntie V, will be a good time to come back
yeah.
because that'll be the Thursday after the 28th.
Okay.
So put that on your calendar.
Okay.
This is we might have to have you and somebody come and talk about voting because these two things need to go hand in hand because we need some sane people up there. Anyway,
Yeah.
don't get me started.
Yeah, not with your conspiracy theory. Let's let you go with that one. Because I got my own, so you already heard mine. I got my own today. Everybody got one of them.
Oh my goodness. This has been Kitchen Talk CTC Conversations That Cook. My guys are resting and recuperating, and one of them driving truck. So we'll see them next week, hopefully. Thank you, Auntie V, for hanging out with us. If you
You
need to talk to her, you can reach her at this email, info at jackanddot.com, or you can reach her at this phone number. This is your right phone number, right?
Uh-huh.
Yep. You can reach her at that phone number. She will gladly talk to you.
Shoot us an email. We'll answer you right back. We do that all day, all night.
Yep. You see, she's still in her office, so y'all know what time it is. That's for real. It's tax season for real.
It's late. I'm going home today. I'll be back in the morning early though.
It is tax time for real.
Yeah.
But there we are. So Jack&Dot, not that one. Jack&Dot, info@jackanddot.com. That's the email if you need to reach out to Valencia Cain, my Auntie V. That's what I call her. Thank you.
All right. Good night, guys.
Good night. Good night. Oh, listen, I forgot to tell y'all. If you are watching us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you're watching us on Facebook, hit the like button. Never miss another show. Turn on your notifications. We are CTC, Kitchen Talk CTC on all social media platforms. We'll be back here next Thursday, same time at 9 o'clock. We look forward to seeing you then. And thank you again, Auntie V.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk, let's talk. What you wanna talk about?